The rain poured relentlessly over the cracked pavement as Elijah stood beneath the rusted tin awning of the corner repair shop, soaked to the bone but too numb to care. His heart thudded with a heaviness that water could never wash away. The last thing he'd heard her say echoed louder than the storm. "I can't live like this anymore, Elijah. You have nothing to offer me." That was the end. No apology, no hug, not even a final look. Amelia, the only woman he'd ever truly loved, had walked away with dry eyes and heels clicking over wet concrete, leaving his world in silent ruin. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and that love is more than wealth, then like this video, subscribe to Royal Stories, and share this tale with someone who needs to believe again. Drop a comment if you've ever been judged for what you lacked instead of who you were. Elijah Reeves had grown up knowing hardship like a second skin. Raised in a crumbling house by a mother who worked 2 jobs and a father who left when the bills piled too high, he'd learned early on that nothing came easy. After high school, he skipped college to care for his sick mom and took up work as a mechanic. His hands were always stained with grease, his clothes threadbare, but his heart, oh, his heart was gold. And that heart had once belonged wholly to Amelia Clark. She had appeared in his life like sunlight after a cold night. A volunteer at the community center, Amelia was everything he wasn't: refined, eloquent, and seemingly from a better world. Yet for a while, none of that mattered. They talked for hours under park trees, shared dollar coffee dates, and dreamed together. Elijah thought their love could survive anything. But slowly, cracks formed. Amelia grew quiet whenever money came up. She winced when he mentioned his rent struggles. Eventually, she stopped meeting him where the buses ran and started Ubering away from him altogether. The breakup was like a slow puncture, silent, suffocating, then catastrophic. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just told him she couldn't see a future with someone like him. That night, Elijah didn't go home. He walked the streets of the city until dawn, letting the hurt swallow him whole. Months passed. Elijah barely held himself together, juggling extra shifts to cover his mother's medical bills. He'd shut the door on love, hope, even joy. He worked, he slept, he survived. Then one day, everything changed, not with a miracle, but a mystery. A silver Bentley pulled into his repair shop lot. Elijah, sweating and exhausted, stepped out to meet a sharply dressed older man with icy blue eyes and an air of cold command. "I need work on the brakes. Don't scratch the paint," he snapped. Elijah didn't flinch. He was used to arrogance. But when he glanced inside the car, his breath hitched. Amelia, sitting in the passenger seat, wearing a pearl necklace and a dress that probably cost more than his monthly rent. She looked different. Her eyes widened when she saw him, and for a moment, neither spoke. Then she looked away. Elijah forced himself to stay professional. He took the keys, pulled the car into the bay, and started the inspection. But he couldn't stop his mind from racing. What was she doing in that car? Who was that man? Later that evening, a teenage boy from the corner store came running. "Elijah, there's some rich guy on TV, said something about his missing daughter. Looks just like your ex." Elijah brushed it off, until the boy pulled up the video. His heart skipped. There, in high definition, was Amelia's face beside the headline, "Tech billionaire Arthur Clark locates secret daughter after 22 years. Elijah's stomach dropped. Amelia Clark, hidden daughter of Arthur Clark, one of the richest men in the country. Amelia had never talked about her father. She'd always said she lived with an aunt. Elijah thought she was just modest. Now it made sense: the quiet luxury, the reluctance, the shame when confronted with his poverty. She hadn't left him for someone richer, she'd left him because she already was. That night, Elijah sat alone in his dim apartment, staring at the wall as the truth sank in. Amelia hadn't just broken his heart, she'd hidden her identity, her world, and when the gap between their lives grew too big, she'd chosen to walk back into wealth instead of fight for love. But something else stirred beneath the pain: curiosity. If she had hidden that part of herself, why? What had driven her to live simply, away from the riches that were always hers? The next week, fate answered. Amelia came to the shop alone. No Bentley, no pearls, just jeans, a hoodie, and trembling hands. She waited until closing. Elijah tried to walk past her, but her voice stopped him. "I didn't know until recently," she whispered. "About my father. About any of it." She told him everything, how she was adopted as a child and raised modestly by her mother's sister. She never knew her real father until a DNA test linked her to Arthur Clark. He'd come searching after her mother passed, offering her a life of luxury, of status. She'd taken it, hoping it would fill the hole left by her broken past, but it didn't. Elijah listened silently. His heart waged war with itself. The pain of abandonment clashed with the longing he'd buried. She was the same woman who once fell asleep on his shoulder in the back of a city bus. But could love survive such a betrayal? Amelia wasn't asking for anything. She just wanted him to understand. "I left because I was scared," she confessed, voice cracking. "Scared you'd leave me first when you found out I came from a world you didn't belong to. So I ran first." And just like that, the curtain fell from Elijah's eyes. She hadn't left because he was poor. She'd left because she felt unworthy of someone who loved so purely. They didn't get back together that night. Healing isn't a movie montage, it's real, raw, and hard. But over weeks, they talked. Walks turned into dinners, dinners into laughter, laughter into forgiveness, and finally, forgiveness into something new. Elijah never asked her for a penny. But Amelia, now aware of her power, used it not for herself, but for others. She funded community programs, rebuilt the repair shop, and started scholarships in her mother's name. The media called her the billionaire with a mechanic's heart. But Elijah knew better. She wasn't a billionaire because of her last name. She was rich in all the ways that mattered. 1 year later, under the same tin awning where their story began, Elijah proposed with a ring made of wood and silver. Not because it was cheap, but because it was meaningful. Amelia cried like she hadn't allowed herself to in years. She said yes, not to the ring, not to the proposal, but to the man who had loved her even when he thought she had nothing. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Royal Stories for more unforgettable tales that prove love is stronger than anything. Speech balloon special request. Comment below, have you ever been judged or left behind because of money? Or did someone give you a second chance you never forgot? We want to hear your story.